Hello, crashing in podcasts. Another video after 2 weeks or something like that now. I think the last episode was I kind of forgot. Sorry about that. Oh no, it was red negative. So hope you all enjoyed last episode with red negative. It was a brilliant podcast, very different to my usual podcasts. Like, it was on a Zoom call and learnt a lot on that day because I'm not clever, as you all know. I'm I'm not a professional type fucking YouTuber, podcaster type thing. Like, if you know me, I turn up to the interview podcast when I see you in a pub or something like that, and I just got my phone and my mic, and I'm trying to get a bit better than that now. So yeah, I'm just at the moment with lockdown and that, it's just been a bit lazy, if I have to be honest. But after all this has stopped, I'll be back to normal, to my normal self, meeting up with bands, meeting up with singer-songwriters, this and that, and going to pubs and that, and interviewing bands when they get a bit drunk, maybe. That'd be quite fun. But today we've got a singer-songwriter, and her name is Meg Shaw. Mainly this podcast be promoting her up and coming single that'll be out in August, I think, the 7th of August, something like that. In the podcast she'll get talking about that, so I think she'll tell you the day and that. I gave it a listen through already, but I forgot if she said the date of the single, but at the end I'll tell you, because I should have really looked before saying it, before recording, but never mind. But yeah, this is promoting a new single. Also promoting a SoundCloud. She does loads of covers. She just recently done a video behind the scenes of a cover she done by Harry Styles. So yeah, check that out. She's got a YouTube channel. She's on Twitter. Yes, she's on Twitter. I don't know about Facebook, but she's on Instagram. That's how I think I found her out. And she's on SoundCloud, and she'll get talking about her SoundCloud later on in the podcast. Really good stuff, acoustic, really chill music. Oh, fucking! I keep getting this fucking fly in here. It's really annoying me. I just can't get it out, and I can't bring myself to killing it because I feel sorry. Like, every time I kill a fly, I always feel bad, and I'll do this thing when I'm like apologising to it. But yeah, I hope you all enjoy today's podcast. It's a short and snappy one today, but I do like a short one. It's really cool, and I hope you all enjoy. I'll talk to you at the end, and yeah, in a bit. Hello, and now I'm talking to Meg Shaw. So, how has you been coping in lockdown?
Yeah, lockdown's been alright, to be honest. Musicians tend to just lock themselves in their room indoors all day, so it's not really been much different apart from obviously not doing gigs. I've really missed gigs though. That's been the main thing that I've noticed and not enjoyed about lockdown. But yeah, it's been alright.
Cool. So, have you written many songs in that time period?
Yeah, I've written a few since lockdown. It's been difficult because obviously you're just stuck in the same place all the time. But yeah, I've got a few under my belt. A few of them I really enjoy actually as well, so I'm hoping to work on those more and maybe get them recorded once we can go back into the studios.
Well, so have you got any upcoming plans when this all blows over?
Yeah, so I'm actually releasing the single, which is during lockdown, and I'm hoping to maybe just do a gig I'm doing a live stream single launch, but hopefully once we can start gigging again, I'll get another gig going, maybe promoting a second single or something. So yeah, I'll be working towards that, and I'm also hopefully going to be playing at the Cavern Club in Liverpool, because I was meant to be doing that in March, but obviously it got cancelled. So yeah, I'll be working towards that hopefully.
So let's take you to the start of your interest in music. So how did you get into music in the first place?
Yeah, so I kind of grew up around music. My mum and dad aren't too musical themselves, but my dad's side, like my grandparents and that, were quite musical. They used to play for the church and play organ and whatever. So I was kind of always surrounded by music, and my primary school was quite musical as well. But I just kind of picked it up and didn't stop, kind of thing. I started playing piano when I was 5 and singing when I was 6, just for fun. Like, I didn't get forced into it or anything like that, and I just kind of carried on with it and haven't stopped.
So what was your first favourite band or musician?
My first favourite band or musician? I used to be obsessed with the pop princesses CDs when I was really little. Things like the Spice Girls, Pussycat Dolls, stuff like that. I used to put the CDs on in the car and in the living room, and I think it used to come with a DVD with all the music videos on as well. So me and my older cousin Lucy would just dance around the kitchen listening to those. So yeah, very young, but yeah, those were my first favourite bands.
Oh, so would you say that gave you a lot of inspiration for your music, or was it someone else?
Not really, to be honest. I mean, I like to take inspiration from everything, so I think everything I've listened to has an impact on my music. I think I didn't really start writing music until I was 18 or so most of my influences for my own music has come with my experiences up here in Liverpool and what I listen to now. So yeah, not really, to be honest, but obviously I take inspiration from everything.
So, when did you first pick up guitar and start writing music? And how long did it take you to get to where you are now?
So I first picked up my guitar in primary school, I think, at a guitar club, so I would have been like 8 years old in year 3. But I didn't start writing my own music until I moved up here to study in Liverpool, so I was 18. I used to be too scared to write songs, to be honest. I gave it a go throughout high school, but I didn't think I was very good at it. But it wasn't until I came here and everyone was telling me to check out their songs on Spotify and whatever, and I thought, oh, I'm gonna have to start writing songs. So yeah, I'm really glad I did start writing songs though, because now I can't stop.
You got your new debut single coming out in August, song called What You Deserve. And will that be on main streaming platforms?
Yeah, so it's going to be on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, everything really. I think it's even going on TikTok, which will be interesting. So if any of you have I don't have TikTok myself, but if any of you have TikTok and want to make a TikTok with that song on, then feel free. I'd love to see what you come up with.
Are you excited for the release of your debut single?
Yeah, I'm really excited for the release actually. I've seen a lot of my friends and a lot of people who I work around have all released stuff, and I've loved the stuff they've come with. So I'm excited to do it myself.
Have you released any demos in the past on the likes of SoundCloud, and are they still accessible today?
Yeah, so I've got quite a few tracks on my SoundCloud. You can access them just by typing in Meg Shaw Sings on the search bar, but on there's loads of demos, loads of covers. Yeah, so go and enjoy if you haven't already.
After the release of the single, have you got any more singles to come or an EP?
Yeah, so just before lockdown I was in the studios recording loads of stuff, so we've got quite a lot of material that just needs obviously finishing off. So hopefully after this single we'll see how it goes and then think about releasing single and then possibly an EP in 2021 or 2022. Obviously that's a long way away yet, but I'll definitely keep you updated on what the plans are.
So let's talk about the live music side of your musical career. So can you recall your first ever gig, and how did you feel about it, and can you recall where it took place and when it was?
My first ever gig, I used to gig, well I still do gig actually, with acoustic covers in pubs. So my first gig was, I was 2016, so I would have been 16, and it was in the Black Star pub in Starport, which is in Worcestershire. and I was terrified. I remember my mom's friend had got me the gig because she lived around the corner, and I was sat on this stool and I kept falling off because I was like shaking and nervous. And yeah, I've looked back at videos and I didn't talk to the audience. I just kept my head down the whole time. It was a disaster, to be honest, but I still gig there now 4 years later, and it's lovely to go back because that's obviously the first place I gigged. It was just me and my dad. I didn't even tell my friends I had the gig because I was too scared that they were going to come and watch and it was going to be a disaster.
What is it like now to do a gig compared to that first ever gig you done?
Yeah, so gigs now, obviously cover gigs, I still kind of do the same vibe. So back at the Black Star and then some up here in Liverpool as well and some in Birmingham. Uh, they are so much fun, especially when it's cover gigs because everyone knows the song, so they're joining in, like having a drink or like meeting up with friends and family, and it can be such a good occasion for me to meet up with people from home, and yeah, it's so much fun. And I love going back to the Black Star in Starport because that was where my first gig was. Because everyone said how much I've improved and how much more confident I've got. In terms of like original gigs, I really love those as well. I've got a band behind me, so I've got drums, guitar, and bass, and some backing vocals as well. So that is a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed it, and I can't wait to get back to doing it.
So, what is it you love most about gigs?
What is it I love the most about gigs? I love it when someone's singing back my song that I've written. I did a gig up in Liverpool in Studio 2 and people were singing along, and I think that's so cool because I haven't done many gigs of my own original material yet. So when someone's already picked up on the lyrics, or they're like, oh, I like this song, like I absolutely love that because it shows that they actually are enjoying it and listening and they're not just showing up to be polite.
Do you miss the live music scene?
I absolutely miss the live music scene 100%. I cannot wait until it all goes back to normal. Hopefully it'll be soon, obviously with safety in place. But yeah, I usually go to like 2 gigs a week, watching local artists, so I cannot wait to get back to doing that.
Do you have any gigs lined up for after lockdown?
Uh, to be honest, I was meant to be doing a lot of gigs during this lockdown period before obviously they all got cancelled. So I think a lot of them are being postponed. So I'm hopefully going to be playing the Cavern Club, which is something I've been working towards for years now. So hopefully that'll be soon. And yeah, maybe the gigs that I was meant to be doing are going to be postponed. I don't know, but I will let you know.
With your music career, have you got a certain aim you would like to achieve by a certain time?
Not really. I think it's hard working in the music industry because half the time it is just being at the right place at the right time. Obviously, you can work towards like maximizing that chance, but I'm gonna kind of just go with it and see what happens. I always put 110% into everything I do, so hopefully the odds will be in my favor really, and yeah, I'll get somewhere someday.
It's near the end of the podcast now, and what I usually do is ask musicians if they got any recommended indie artists. So, have you got any artists that you would like to shout out?
Oh, I've got a few in Liverpool. If anyone finds themselves up in Liverpool, people like Tilly Louise and Rachel, and yeah, there's some crazy talented people everywhere. I know Amelia Wallace is up here, but she's also from the Midlands. So Amelia, if you're listening to this, hi. And yes, their original stuff is so good, and I've grown up like since Liverpool listening to their stuff and like looking up to them sort of thing. So yeah, Amelia Wallace, Rachel, and Tilly Louise, my the ones off the top of my head.
So, before you go, have you got anything inspiring you can say to the audience that are listening?
Something inspiring for the listeners. I usually people always say to me like whenever I do a gig, it doesn't matter if not everyone in the room's listening because there could just be that one person that's listening. And they could be like a record producer or a manager or something. So even if there's just one person in the room that's paying any attention to you, that could be massive. So if you turn up to a gig and there's nobody there or there's like 3 people there, it does not matter. There could be 1,000,000,000 people in the room, but if there's just the one person there, then that could change everything. So yeah, just that really. Don't Any gig is an important gig. Don't prioritize others, and every gig you do, just pretend like you're playing Wembley each time, because you never know who's going to be watching.
Well, thanks for joining me today. And before we go, I'm going to play a song by Meg Shaw in a bit.
Meg Shaw. I think you might notice that I'm wearing different clothes, and this is because this has been like a few days later since I've been editing the podcast, and I'm sorry that this podcast took quite long to upload, especially to Meg Shaw, because she recorded her answers quite a while back now, and I feel bad for taking this long to actually edit the podcast. But I've been like quite busy with work and stuff like that, because just getting into like a new job and that, it's just like been quite a bit busy the last couple of days and week or so now. I think Make Sure like recorded the answers maybe like a week or two back now. I forgot now, and because I'm losing track of the weeks because I'm trying to remember when I was last in Wolverhampton, and it was when I was in Wolverhampton. I think she recorded the answers. Then I think like edited the whole podcast like maybe a week later. I don't actually remember now, but yeah, thank you, Meg Shaw, for recording the answers, and thank you for joining me on the podcast. I really appreciate it, and good luck. And also, if there's anything else you want promoting, I just want to say, please message me on that and promote new music that's to come out, or anything that's coming out, merchandise, whatever. But that's the same with any musician. Like, I'm getting loads of bands getting in touch with me, like, because it used to be always me asking loads of bands to come on, and it's nice to have these musicians, singers, songwriters, bands asking me to come on a podcast. You may notice, like, I think I've noticed, like, there has been some bands that ask me if they could come on the podcast, and I totally forget. And if I have forgot to get you on the podcast, I am so sorry. It's just been busy, so busy. It's a lot on my mind at the moment, so it's just like, keep reminding me, and I'll definitely get you on. Like, and I think I just don't really go on socials that much, so when I'm on socials and I see a band pop up, it always reminds me to, oh yeah, I've got to do a podcast with them. But as I haven't been on socials that much recently, I just had nothing to remind me that I'm meant to be doing a podcast with certain bands and that. I did have a musician contact me yesterday or something like that, Robert Lane, and he might be on the podcast soon. I was meant to get Sean Gamble Walsh and the Plagiarists on, but that couldn't happen because I think at the time it was just like I was doing stuff like work at Stay Loose Records, and Sean Walsh was going on holiday type thing, so like we just couldn't get together to do that podcast. So we will eventually. So sorry, but at least you get to see part two. Part two will be coming out of Sean Gamble Walsh's and the Plagiarists with Dave Timms at guitar, the guitarist of the band, and Sean Walsh, the vocalist, talking to me. And it's a continue of the part one. So if you haven't heard part one, just listen to that first. And yeah, I just want to say, Stylish Records has bought out new merchandise, and it's fucking great. It's like the top in black with orange writing, like orange Stylus on the logo Stylus. It doesn't have records on it, but it looks really cool. And we got these bags, and they're like, I don't know what they call them, but they're like bags with Stylus on. They just look so cool, and they're reusable. Obviously, they're not like the type of bags you can just throw away. You can keep them for life. So like, yeah, get down Stylish Records. I don't know the prices, but I'm certainly getting myself a bag. I've got a top already, but I might get myself a top again because I just love that Stylus logo because it's just so cool. So yeah, thank you for listening to the podcast today. I really, really appreciate it. And please like and subscribe subscribe if you haven't already. Like, if you like my content, please check it out. Like, I've got other videos with such brilliant bands such as Cherry Pickle, Sean Gamble Walsh and the Plagiarists, the Jack Fletcher Band, Alex Home, and many, many more. Lines of Descent, many more. So like, yeah, it's all different types of music as well. It's not just indie alternative music. I've got a band psychedelic, and I'm trying to get some rap artists on, like grime artists. Personally, I'm not a big fan of the genre, but I do rate them, especially the independent ones, because they're really hard working and that. But yeah, and at the moment, getting loads of indie singers, songwriters on at the moment. But man, let's try and get more bands on as well. Like, yeah, it's all sorts of music, folk, alternative. I'm trying to think now, but yeah, it's the genres are very varied. Like you may notice, like my style's type of mod type music. If you follow me on my personal, it's all mod music I share and that. But I don't just love mod music. I love all music, even rap, and even maybe heavy metal, because I don't mind Black Sabbath if I have to be honest. So yeah, I even interviewed a heavy metal band on my podcast not long back, last year, called Recall the Remain the Recalls, Recall the Remains, or something like that. Heavy metal band from Wolverhampton. That's on not on SoundCloud anymore, but I will re-upload that one at some point. And I was with Doddy White and that on that. So yeah, got loads of content. So please check it out. Got more content to come. So stay tuned. Nothing's coming up. Please stay tuned for my Twitch. If you like my Twitch, if you like games and that, I'm playing retro games like GTA, like San Andreas, Vice City, and all sorts of stuff. Just one of those things. I just like to keep putting content out there, but at the moment it's really slow because like work obviously and that just starting back up. I had a lot of time during isolation and that because that's why it was so more often. But I remember like when I was in college and that during the podcast, it was kind of the same. It was like normally like every 2 weeks or something like that when a podcast came out. But it can't be helped. I'm sure everyone's in the same situations, especially musicians. Like, and I'm sure loads of musicians loved isolation because like they just had loads of time to like do music stuff. The only bummer was we can't go to gigs and still can't. I'm still upset about it, and it's just getting to me. I'm just like, I really want to go to a gig because it's been like weeks, not weeks. I mean months now. I used to be at a gig, like little gigs like the BMA gig thing that was on once a month. I always went to them, and loads of free gigs I used to go to. I used to go to a couple of gigs a week, or mainly all local bands as well. I never actually went to like gigs like to see someone like Liam Gallagher or something like that. I always went to gigs to do with local bands and that. But I'm just missing gigs in general. I'm trying to think of my last gig. I think it might have been Crest Glider or I'm trying to think now. I can't think. It might be Alex Home actually. I think it was at the New Hampton Arts Centre. What a gig that was! If you missed that, you can see clips of it on my YouTube channel. So like, check it out. Please like and subscribe. And yeah, see you all later. Take care and stay safe.